Palermo, a city synonymous with the mafia, violence and organised crime. In this video, we're going beyond the stereotypes to uncover the real Palermo, a city steeped in history, rich in culture and defined by resilience. From beautiful Norman architecture to buzzing street markets and mouth-watering cuisine, Palermo really surprised us and quickly became one of our favourite cities. Join us as we explore the highlights and the back streets. We embrace its lively atmosphere and we eat our way through the city. Buongiorno, friends. Today we are in the city of Palermo, which is the capital of Sicily. Now, when you think of Palermo and Sicily in general, you probably think of the mafia. So today we are going to do a walking tour of Palermo to learn about the history of this organisation, the influence it's had over the city, and what it really means to live in Sicily today. We're making our way now through the beautiful gardens of the Villa Ballaro, and we're going to be walking into the historical centre of the city to meet with our local guide. While there is a direct way to the meeting point at the Teatro Massimo up the main pedestrian roads, we followed Google Maps through a labyrinth of small alleys, which we loved, getting to see the real Palermo. So we're having a standard Italian breakfast at the bar here. I've got a regular coffee, Nigel's got a doppio, panini, I've got the cornetto. We are starting our tour today at the Teatro Massimo, or the Opera House of Palermo, and this is the third largest opera house in Europe after the one in Paris and Vienna. So we've met our guide here, and the guides from Addio Pizzo are running this No Mafia tour today. Our guide Francesco was brilliant. He was born in Palermo and has lived here all his life. He's been fascinated, or obsessed, with the mafia since his teen years. He led us through the city and his tour was like a 3-hour history lecture, full of so much incredible information. This tour is an absolute must-do if you're visiting Palermo. You can book directly with Addio Pizzo or use the Get Your Guide link in the description below. The tour visited the Wall of Legality, a long mural dedicated to those lawmakers who lost their lives at the hand of the mafia, including judges Falcone and Borsellino. We then visited the law courts where the Maxi trials were held, the Cathedral of Palermo, where we learned about the priest Pino Puglisi, who was killed by the mafia, and finally the No Mafia Memorial Museum. We'll come back to visit this museum later. I'll try to summarise what Francesco taught us about the mafia. So the mafia, or Cosa Nostra, our thing, can be traced back to the collapse of the feudal era when small groups of people offered protection for local landowners. In 1943, over 65% of the buildings in Palermo were damaged or destroyed by Allied bombs. And after the war, lots of money was granted under the Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of the city. The mafia then became increasingly involved in the construction industry, making the most of that money. It was in the 1970s that the mafia became the stereotypical criminal organisation that we probably think about today, thanks to movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, and TV series like The Sopranos. They became increasingly involved in the drug business, and their tentacles spread not only throughout Sicily, but all of Italy, and in fact throughout the world. Throughout the 1980s, rival families fought for control of Cosa Nostra, which led to the huge mafia wars with rival family and clan leaders killing one another, loads of violence, and eventually a pushback by the authorities. So this violence culminated in the Maxi trials, which is when sadly some of the prosecutors and judges, including Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino, were both killed along with the people that were protecting them. Amidst the public outrage, the mafia lost some of the hold it once had, and today there's a movement pushing back against the influence that the mafia had. It's very hard to know the numbers nowadays, but we hear that it could be anywhere as low as 10 to 30% of involvement with the mafia that it was back in the 1970s. So the big thing with the mafia is the notion of pizzo, or protection, whether that be money or just involvement. Today, organisations like Addio Pizzo are pushing back against the practice, and local business owners can join their organisation and display this sticker so we know if we spend our money here, it isn't going to the mafia. After an amazing 3 hours with Francesco, we were hungry, so we headed to the Ballaro market in search of food. We are now in the historic Ballaro market. Nigel's brought us to the first restaurant we've passed, which is very busy, which could mean we'll be waiting a while to get food, but that's okay. So this market dates back to the 9th century. It's one of the oldest operating markets in all of Europe. It's all happening here. It's noisy and it's all happening. What is it?
Palermo salad.
Nigel enjoyed his Palermo salad and swordfish that came out, but my spaghetti left a bit to be desired. So we went off in search of more street food. So you see all of the restaurants with delicious looking food. Very good. But it's a lot of seafood, loads of seafood. Look at all this stuff. Look at this, it just looks amazing. And these cannoli. Ceci.
Yes.
Fried chickpea, it's good. And I've got a mozzarella and spinach, grazie, arancini. It's massive and it was €3. Now Nigel's a bit jealous. He wants to have the street food experience.
Have the street food experience.
So here's Nigel eating his street food. So we are walking through here at after 2 in the afternoon, and it's kind of all closing down. Apparently the best time is supposed to be early morning when it's all happening. What's he frying here? Buongiorno.
Good morning, welcome to Ballaro. Come guardare dopo mangiare, anche pure pasta, signori. Coperto non si paga.
Dear cheer, we just bought some cheese.
Prego.
3 cheeses for 10.
You got pepper one.
And a couple of chilies.
This place is rocking.
We can get our Aperols here. She just put a shit ton of Aperol in there and not much spritz. Mind you, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we're on our second Aperol. We walked back to the main part of town through an artist's quarter. Behind us here is the Pretoria Square. Now, what's really interesting about this square is this fountain here was built at the end of the 16th century in Florence. And they had to ship it all the way here to Palermo. And when it got here, they were a little bit horrified because all the statues are naked. And this building, which is behind scaffolding at the moment, behind it is actually a church and a convent. So the poor nuns would look out and see all these naked statues, which has earned the square the name the Square of Shame. This octagonal square is called Quattricanti, and it's like octagonal shape, and has all these Baroque buildings lining it. The square is popular day and night, and there's often street performers here. These girls throwing paper planes are from Ukraine and have a camera and printer where they create a memento for the tourists. How cool is this? We're in the news. We've stopped in now for another one of the typical dishes of Sicily, which is granita, and we're going to have a mandarin flavour. I don't particularly like mandarin, but that's okay because Nigel's going to have it and I'm going to have a taste. And then I get to have a cannoli soon. See. Let's see. Oh, molto bene. Grazie, chef.
Well, so on record, I had no idea of what we're ordering here. But what I would compare this to is basically like a slushy. And we've all had the, Coca-Cola or lemonade slushy or whatever. And that's what it's like. It's really nice. Like natural juice with ice. I said to the El Capo in there, vitamino C, vitamin C, I'm like, what's that? It's good for you.
So we're walking down now this kind of like a main street. So much street food. Oh, look at this. Ciao. Oh, look at this one, Nigel. Holy, look at that.
Let's go.
All the little shops have got these out the front with an Aperol Spritz. So cool, hey?
Tune into the side of the house here.
4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, it's all happening here in the main street of Palermo.
So $1.60 for a piccolo cannoli. And the Verdict. And conveniently, right next door to the cannoli place is the local brewery.
So this has it's a local craft brewery. We've got a session IPA and Nigel's got a hoppy IPA.
So here we are. The same square. Look at those lights.
So cool.
Oh, mate, rocking in the background. Going off.
If you're planning a trip to Palermo, make sure you grab our free guide to the best things to do in Palermo. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen now to download your copy. Sometimes we stay in beautiful campsites by the beach, in the forest, wild camps with no one around, and sometimes we stay in a car park in the middle of the suburb. Actually, this is a really good spot to stay. It's one of these sostas, so a camper stopover, €25 a night, has a toilet and a shower, grey water. The fresh water is actually not drinkable, so that's kind of the one bad thing.
It was quiet last night too.
Very quiet.
Not a peep.
Yeah,
Slept
no.
like a baby last night.
Saturday night and we didn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
So this is a good spot to stay in Palermo, and what's really good about it is you can walk straight to town from here. Takes about 20 minutes.
Yeah, the slow pace. It's good.
Yeah.
You get to soak in all the madness, the traffic, and the buzz of the town, the city.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have another crack at this place.
Right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
The walk to the old town takes us through these local streets, under the Porta Nuova or Newgate, and past the gardens of the Villa Bonanno. We had heard the Ballaro market is best in the early morning, so we came here again for our morning coffee and some more street food. This is certainly a place with a lot of character and energy.
1,200-year-old market.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's not bad, is it?
And the sights, sounds and smells of this place are just incredible.
Yeah.
Those massive swordfishes. And we saw a bit of this market yesterday, but we were here in the afternoon, so most of this part was closed. We're walking through it today and it just keeps going on and on. That's so cool.
Man, yeah, very unique experience, isn't it?
Yeah. Totally.
It just bashes every sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then we're thinking, right, we have to have a coffee.
10:10.
And then think about walking back through again with the sun behind us.
We enjoyed a beautiful coffee in this cafe and then went looking for some more street food.
And once again, I'm destroying another plate of these beautiful whitebait while Sue goes hunting for something without meat or fish.
So this is a typical Sicilian street food. It's chickpea flour, and he's going to deep fry it over there.
Right on cue, here comes Sue with, what do you got there? Is that the fried chickpea? Oh, that's not bad either. It's well gone. It's like fish and chips. Whee! Awesome. Yum. No, really nice. Due arancia. Sì.
Ok.
That's it. Now so press.
Grazie.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a small one, but
Yeah, that's all right.
it's all we really need.
Yeah. See, the cheese man is still hassling me.
It's really nice.
Va bene.
With full bellies, we continued our sightseeing tour. This is the Cathedral of Palermo, and it dates back from the 11th century. It's built in such an interesting mix of styles, which reflects all of the different societies and peoples and nations that have lived and ruled here. In the 11th century, of course, the Normans were here, and you can just see elements of Gothic and the definite influence of the Saracens on part of this cathedral as well. So we're going to go inside and have a look, and then we're going to go up to the roof for some great views over the city. So we've just bought our tickets for the roof. You also have to buy a combined ticket with the Royal Tombs. We can't actually go into the cathedral at the moment. As you might be able to hear, there is currently Mass being held. Ingresso ai tetti.
Inseriti in un mistero che quando viene rivelato ci lascia prima una cosa di capitale importanza, cioè che siamo figli.
Secret door.
A very secret door. Right, again, looks like these ones are made for short people. Attenzione alla testa. Means watch out for your head. Now we can understand how Quasimodo got a hunchback.
Seems to be a common theme that skinny, narrow, steep, spiral steps in churches. Yeah, cool.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is an absolute must-do here in Palermo. I can even see snow on the mountains over there. So cool. Wow. And one after the other, all of the other churches in the city are ringing their bells. How good has the trip up to the roofs been?
Yeah, another wee surprise. Yeah.
Definitely one to add to your list for Palermo. How much was it? €7?
Yeah, for both the tombs and the roof.
So I guess now we go down and have a look in the tombs.
Yeah.
The tombs contain the remains of several Norman kings, including Roger II, who founded the Kingdom of Sicily in 1130.
Now the Mass is over, so we can wander around the cathedral taking photos and video. So up above us here is the dome that we walked around. This is the chapel of St. Rosalie, the patron saint of Palermo, and her relics are in that urn there.
There's also a large statue of St. Rosalie on a float outside the cathedral.
So here we have the tomb of the blessed Giuseppe Puglisi, who was a martyred priest killed by the mafia in 1993. In 2013 he was recognised as a martyr and declared blessed, which I think is one step down from being declared a saint. And our guide yesterday was telling us that they're just waiting for him to be, I guess, promoted to the sainthood. I'm not exactly sure of the terminology, but made a saint simply for speaking out against the mafia. That was enough for him to be killed. The last stop on our tour of Palermo is the No Mafia Memorial. This is like a museum with changing exhibits, and we're going to come in here and learn a little bit more about the mafia in Palermo and Sicily.
The museum houses changing exhibits. Right now they have 2 photographic exhibitions. We spent a bit of time here, but to be honest, a lot of it was in Italian, so hard to understand. The museum is free to enter. They simply ask for a donation to support their work. We had one last mafia-related site to visit, so we drove out to Capaci.
We have just come to the memorial here. We're standing on the site of where the car bombing that killed Judge Falcone, his wife and their 3 police escorts in May of 1992. So the mafia placed 400 kilograms of explosives in a tunnel under the motorway here. And they had like a remote detonator, so they set it off. The first car, which is the one with the 3 escorts, that car bore the brunt of the explosion and was sent like into the olive grove. And then the car that was being driven by Judge Falcone and his wife smashed into the wall on the edge of the motorway, and they were both thrown through the windscreen of the car. They weren't wearing seatbelts. There are 2 obelisks on either side of the motorway to mark the spot.
So those tall structures, obelisks, actually signify the diameter of the crater caused by the explosion. So it gives you some idea of the magnitude of the blast. It's crazy. It's a big ass crater, isn't it?
And crazy to think, just 52 days after this tragedy, Paolo Borsellino was also killed by the mafia in a car bomb.
Borsellino got a phone call leading up to his execution, assassination. Random call. By the way, we have the bombs, or the explosives ready for you. Can you believe that? Like, Alright, so reflection on Palermo as we chow down on a gelati.
So good.
Apart from the weather being beautiful, like times we had stripping off the layers, but I think we jointly agree that Palermo is our new favourite city in Italy, or southern Italy. Certainly in the last.
Italy.
Yeah, it's been a real, like, Napoli surprised us and Palermo surprised us even more in a really good way. I hardly did any research myself, so for me it was a complete surprise. It's still a surprise for you though, right? I didn't know what to expect at all, but it's just really delighted. Yeah, it's been great.
Join us next time when we head to the other Sicilian icon, Mount Etna. Will we be able to drive up Europe's most active volcano? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.